All right, we're gonna get started. So today we're gonna be learning about pivot tables. Hopefully you guys know the functionality of tables and how they work because it kind of plays a big part into how pivot tables work and how it actually gathers information and breaks it down. Uh, Back when we learned about tables, we understood that we had to break each individual value or variable about the item into a certain column so that Excel can kind of understand what the data is based on the item. As you can see here, this is the wire pulling guide that we wanted to do, and we want to get some more data out of it that makes it a little bit easier for us to process it. So instead of going through and kind of sorting our table and coming with our lists that we can individually print out or make, we can make one kind of master list using a pivot table. Pivot table is just taking all this data and it's kind of reorganizing that data into a different view. Before we go too far, you guys can hear me all right? All right.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I'm not talking in the void. All right, so first thing that we do is once we have our table set up and it's ready to go, it's gonna give us the little command up here as table design. This is kind of how you can tell it's in a table. When you click on it, it's gonna give you a couple options here as well, such as summarize with pivot table. So as soon as you click that, it's gonna give you this prompt box of asking you, hey, what table do you want to summarize with the pivot table? Since you've already clicked into that table, it automatically understands you're looking for that one. And it's asking you, hey, do you want to put this on a new work tab or do you want to add it to the existing worksheet? Usually I always just do a new worksheet so it separates it from the table and keeps you organized so you're not messing up your table itself. So I'm just going to click new worksheet. Excel is going to bring you to the new tab. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give you the pivot table here along with a new window over here on the right. So I'm just going to expand this. If you click out of the pivot table anywhere in the page itself, it removes that little table window. If you click back into the pivot table, it'll bring the window back up. So this is how you kind of build and construct your pivot table. And all this is doing is it's just taking those column headers that you added in your table and allows you to kind of organize it how you want below. So what it's doing is it's allowing you to kind of chunk different values together, look at the data in different kind of perspectives. So one instance is, let's see, what panels we have in the project. I want to understand maybe how much wire we have for each panel. By clicking and dragging the header into any one of these boxes, it's going to start building your table. Obviously, if you put into rows, it's going to create a row. If you put it into columns, it's going to make it a column. And if you put into values, it's going to give you a value. So first things first, as I'm just going to put my panels in my row column here. And now what this is doing is it's grouping all your individual items here with each individual name, but it's only giving you every single unique value here, right? It's not counting multiples. And now let's say I want to understand how much wire length I have in total for each panel. What the pivot table is going to do is it's actually going to allow you to take the length and drop it into a different column or into a value or even underneath the rows, and we'll subcategorize it. So let's just see what happens when I drop it in the column. It automatically starts giving you every single unique value as a column header in that entire table. If I drag it over to values, it's going to subcalculate all the length values for each panel. So let's take, for instance, this TRG2G. We know it's 1750. I'm going to do a new window over here. And if I was going to look at this 2RG1, I go down to the length down here and I do sum. you can see it's the same value as if I just created this or sliced it with the slicer. So TRG21 equals 1750 here. So this quickly creates a value schedule that you're looking for, much faster than slicing it through the table itself, and you don't have to manually do it. It automatically understands it. You're also able to change the values of what you're looking for here. So if you're looking for a different value instead of the sum of all the lengths, but maybe you're looking for like the average, you can change the different, I would say, mathematical figure that's trying to get by clicking any one of these different count, sum, average. And now it's going to give you the average length of the panels or for the wires coming out of it. To remove anything from a pivot table, all you have to do is actually click and drag and just drop it outside of the table, and now it's gone. So how does this kind of make some items a little bit easier? So let's reset the table here. Let's check how many different wire lengths have been pulled, right? So we have a category here. Some of these are pulled, yes or no. But I want to understand like how many of my runs have been pulled. So each one of my panels here is set here. I can do a subcategory underneath the panel itself. Let's pick pulled, yes or no. And this is subcategorizing how many yeses or nos are underneath each one of those panels. And then if I did pulled one more time under values, it's going to give me the count of how many circuits are pulled for that panel versus how many circuits are not pulled versus that panel, and the grand total of circuits for that panel there. I can also even subcategorize that some more if I wanted to know what zones have been pulled. So let's just say I wanted to put zones into here. So all my pulls have been separated into different zones and whether or not they've been pulled. I can also change whether or not I want pulled ahead of the zones. So I can start to kind of drag in different type of data to see a different display of information I want. If I wanted to know kind of maybe the phase color, I can break down how many individual red phases that have not been pulled. Right, so it looks like I have 5 circuits in panel 2 RG2 that have not been pulled that are in red, or whether or not they are a, let's see, home run or 6-2 or 12-2. And this gives you a count and breakdown of each individual one of those. Does everyone kind of follow along with how the pivot table's organizing data? Does anyone have any questions?
It's magic, right?
So much magic.
Yep.
So magical. Generally, how we use this data is to kind of streamline what individual pivot tables you want to begin with. So for example, one of the ones that we use a lot for the pivot table are the ceiling utility panels for prefab. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Let me balance what I have in. Is there? No. Wish I had one on me. But generally, if what we're looking to do is, let's say we want to understand what panels still have circuits to pull. And it's just based on that table we set. So I can just remove and reset the panels and understand, okay, I have all my panels here. I want to know what zones have the most pulled and whether or not the circuit has been pulled, yes or no. And then it's just going to be pulled count. And just like a regular table, you can also add in your slicers. So I only want to see non-pulled runs. So these are all my non-pulled runs for each one of my panels. Additionally, if I wanted to see, maybe what circuit has not been pulled, I can add it underneath no, and it gives me a readout of all the circuits that have not been pulled. And as you go and you set this as, okay, circuit 8 for this panel has been pulled, or if I set most of these to yes, these have all been pulled. I go back to my sheet. This hasn't been updated because it's not 100% dynamic. All you have to do is just hit data refresh. And now it should give you, okay, there's no more no's. All my circuits have been pulled, but there are yeses. So every time you close this Excel sheet or open it back up, it will automatically run that data refresh and give you brand new information. So if you continually add in that you've ordered this or pulled this or that the length has changed, all these pivot tables are going to update automatically for you and maintain that data. So if you set up a run schedule, I want to see what's ever been pulled versus, or panel what has been ordered versus not ordered for MC. And I just want to put in a slicer for ordered. And now know exactly how much MC to order for each panel. So I still have to order, or these are just counts. So instead of counts, actually, hold on one line. This is telling me I still need to order 955 feet of 12.2 and 460 feet of HR cable or home run cable for this panel. And these are giving me my grand totals down here. I can also further divide that into phase color, which would then give me, okay, I need 570 feet of black 12.2, or for the entire project, 1,525 feet of black 12.2. Versus if I turned on everything, it's going to give you the entire value of the entire project. So you can also copy this like pivot table and make a new one on the page. So you can have one that is a slice for yes. If you have the slicer on as you copy one, it's going to keep track of the two pivot tables together. So if you had this pivot table telling you how many you have ordered versus the, we can change the entire look of this pivot table over here. We're just pulled. It's going to match these two tables together. So you're able to slice the data and look at two different pivot tables with two different sets of information all at once, instead of scrolling in and out of the Excel table and trying to figure out the data yourself or manually doing the calculations. Generally with pivot tables, they're a little bit difficult to comprehend at first, but the way that I've found is just kind of playing around with it for, probably like half an hour, and you'll start to kind of understand how the pivot table reacts to dragging in different items and trying to generate the information you want. All of it is just tabulated data here. So the more you mess around with it, the easier that this little panel becomes, and the more powerful data you can kind of pump out of this. Additionally, this can all just be added to like a print page. So if I just wanted to create a report from this, I can easily generate a print report for a vendor or for my team to pull. Does anyone have any specific questions or want to go over something that I missed or that they are unsure about? Perfect. You guys are experts now. Awesome. Yep. Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to say thanks for your time, Corey. It seems like
No
the
problem.
attendance is a little bit shitty. That kind of sucks, but do
It's fine.
appreciate you taking the time out of your day to try to help us all out.
It's fine. If you have any questions or want to, maybe need some help building a pivot table, please reach out to me. I'm gladly kind of put one together for you, so that you can, make your life a little bit easier. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.